everyone, it's Lauren from Speak from the Heart. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. This is my very first video here on YouTube, so I'm really excited that you're here. Please make sure you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe for all videos related to speech-language pathology from the modern day speech-language pathologist. So we're going to hop right into this video, which is all about becoming a speech-language pathologist. So some things that you can do while you're still an undergraduate student to help push you along your journey of becoming a speech-language pathologist. My plan is to kind of make this into a two-part series where I talk about things you can do in undergraduate years and then some things that you can do during your graduate school years as well. So that way it's not such a lengthy video. But I'm going to share about 3 to 5 tips with you today. And if you have any questions about anything, please comment below or ask them below. And I'll be more than happy to answer them. So we'll get started. So my very first tip, and actually what I'll do is I'll tell you the tips first and then kind of explain them. So my tips, starting with number 1, which to me is one of the most important, is to excel in your major classes. So your phonetics, anatomy, all of that. Build relationships with your professors and volunteer. Get out and do something that you love. And so to just kind of explain on each tip, number 1 is kind of self-explanatory. Your major classes make up your major GPA, and that's what a lot of graduate school committees look at. They want to make sure with your phonetics class, are you excelling? Your voice disorders class, are you doing pretty well? So make sure, study hard, go to office hours if you need to, if you're not understanding something in a major class, and just make sure you're performing your best. You may lose a couple hours of sleep, you may need to pull a couple of all-nighters, but it will be worth it when you have your C's and you are doing what you love as a speech-language pathologist. And that kind of brings me to point number 2, or tip number 2, which is building those relationships with your professors. So like I said, if you're having trouble with a class, go to office hours. Let them know. They're not going to say, hey, this student should not be in the program because they don't understand how to transcribe this word. Just go and be honest and say, hey, I don't understand this, but I really want to be able to wrap my head around this so that way when I'm practicing, I can do this technique the right way, or whatever it is you're having trouble with. Be honest, accept the help, and just take that relationship and let it grow for the rest of your undergraduate years. Those relationships will be really good for when you're applying for graduate school and you need letters of recommendation. So, like I said, go to office hours, even if you don't need help, just to let your professors know, this is what I'm interested in, these are my passions, and I just wanted to let you know that, just so you know, and to help you put a face with a name. Because typically in undergraduate programs, there are so many students, it's hard for professors to keep up. So put yourself out there and build those relationships. It's going to be really helpful. And then my last tip, as I said, volunteer. Get out and do something in your community. Give back to your community. And this is not just to get into graduate school, but this is just to give you a sense of purpose. The field of speech-language pathology, to me, is one of the most amazing fields. Every day I'm giving back to my community. I'm helping children and adults communicate, and that's one of the greatest gifts ever. I mean, I can't even explain how much joy that gives me. So get out and do that so you can start to experience what that feels like, because you'll have those same feelings when you become a speech-language pathologist. So you don't have to volunteer, with a speech therapist. Maybe you go to a food bank. Maybe you go help out at a homeless shelter. So it doesn't have to be related to speech therapy, but just get out and do something that you love and that makes your heart smile, because there's no greater feeling, trust me. So again, those are 3 major tips. Of course, there are so many other things that you can do, but I'm trying to make this as general as possible. And again, any other questions, just leave them below. And I want to kind of start to transition into, maybe it's your senior year, you've done really well, you have these relationships, you've started volunteering, so now you want to start applying. My biggest tip as far as the application process is to take your GRE early, okay? early. When I say early, I mean the summer before senior year. So like that July, maybe beginning of August before your senior year. Go ahead, take it. Maybe you don't do that well. Let's have that scenario. Maybe you don't do that well. You have to wait about 15 days before you can take it again. So that gives you some time before applications are due to retake it if you need to, get some better scores, and then send that in with your application. I actually took the GRE, I think it was July before my senior year. So that gave me plenty of time to, get my scores back, figure out if I wanted to retake it, and then, send in my application. I would also recommend going to the ets.org, I want to say it is, website, which is where you go to register for the GRE. They have lots of prep materials to help you get ready for the test. Also around that time, start making a list of schools you want to apply to. Graduate school applications are expensive, okay? You may need to take out a loan to pay for it. I'm just joking, you don't have to do that, but it is expensive. So you want to make sure you have a list of maybe 4 or 5 schools that you really want to apply to. And try not to make your list too long, but that way you have it written down, and when you finish one application, you can just cross that school out. Go ahead and also start talking to your professors about letters of recommendation. Give them your resume. Go and talk to them in person. If you don't have a resume, maybe just jotting down things that you were involved in undergraduate school, so that way they know a little bit more about you and things you like to do. And it just helps them to get those letters written. And also give them plenty of time, which is why I say do it early. The day you sign up for the GRE, go ahead and say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, can you please write this letter of recommendation for me? So that way everything is completed nice and early, because it's stressful and you don't want to stress yourself out because you still have classes to take. So do that early. And also, one more tip, and I know I'm flying through these, but again, these are very general, but start on your personal statement early. So you have that list of schools, right? Go ahead and see what is the prompt for the personal statement. A lot of schools have generally the same personal statement prompt, but just go ahead and see, and that way you can start writing. So maybe in between your classes, you can start writing on a topic for school A. And then, maybe the next week start writing for school B. And that way, again, you can just start to slowly get things done. And then, when it's time to send everything in, you're ahead of the game. So trust me, you want the least amount of stress, because it only gets more stressful from that point when you get into graduate school. So again, very general tips for my undergraduate students here who are wanting to be a speech-language pathologist. Please ignore the background noise. It is raining very hard and also very windy today. It's very weird. But those are my tips. Again, I could go on and on. This video could easily be an hour, but I don't want to do that. So if you have any questions about the tips that I shared, or any general questions, about speech-language pathology as a whole, please feel free to drop them down below. Send me a message. I will be making videos hopefully weekly. My schedule is pretty busy, so that's my hope, is to make a video at least once a week. But again, I'm really excited. Thank you so much. Again, click the like button if you liked it, and even if you didn't like it, like it. And subscribe to my channel, and I will see you